Vaccinations have been in the news a lot recently again. A measles outbreak in America making the headlines. And in Italy, parents have been told they will be fined if their children go to school, attend school without being vaccinated.
Well, there's a lady here who agrees with that, a mother who seems to think that it might be a very good idea. She almost died after she caught mumps, aged 40, and says that all unvaccinated children should be banned from school. There she is. That is Emily Cleary at her home in Buckinghamshire. Good morning, Emily. Thanks for joining us this morning. You got mumps when you were 40, so how do you believe you contracted mumps?
Yes, it was last August. I went on holiday with my family to a holiday park on the south coast, and it was a pretty grotty place, pretty unhygienic. And then 3 weeks later, I started getting flu-like symptoms. My face swelled up and I was very ill. The doctor told me that I'd contracted mumps, and the incubation period matched exactly to when I was there.
And also, he then quarantined you because you were deemed to be a public health risk, is that right?
Yes, because I was deemed a public health risk. I couldn't leave my house for a week or more, and I couldn't take my children to school. I was contagious to anyone I came into contact with.
Emily, at that point, I just want to bring in the doctor here because just in case, just outline to people what is mumps and why would it be dangerous?
So mumps is a viral condition. It's most commonly causes fever, sort of cold and flu symptoms, lethargy, joint pain, makes your glands swell up. A lot of people don't realise what the complications of mumps might be, though. Meningitis, it used to be a big cause of meningitis before we had vaccination. Infertility, pancreatitis. Measles and rubella, likewise, can have serious complications. Measles, if you get over it, still puts you at risk of brain damage, a condition called SSPE, for which there is no cure.
So Emily fell foul of this mump situation, and obviously, I mean, it frightened you, it scared you, and also it's made you angry. To what degree?
It's made me really angry. It made me angry because the doctor told me that I had contracted it from an unimmunised child, that parents are not immunising their children because they believe lies that they read on Facebook. And if you have mumps as a child, it might not be that severe. But if you get it when you're 40, it can have really, really damaging effects, and it's had damaging effects on my health. And I was in contact with a newborn baby and also a terminally ill cancer patient in the weeks leading up to my presenting the symptoms, which meant that if I'd have been contagious then, without knowing, I would have put their lives at risk. They could actually have died because I'd passed them a virus I didn't even know I had.
Well, Doctor, you're listening to what...
When people make this decision, they're not...
Yeah, sorry, Emily, it's just we're up against the clock here. I just want to go to the doctor because obviously she says she's angry there. But Emily's also saying, Dr Ranj, that she believes what happened to her could have been avoided if children are all vaccinated, and banning unvaccinated children from schools would help.
So it's a different debate entirely as to whether we should enforce vaccination, but there are a few facts that I would like to get across to anybody watching at home. Firstly, vaccines do work. They do save lives. We have a huge amount of laboratory evidence and real-life evidence for that. Just, if you don't believe it, have a look at what happened with the eradication of polio. Have a look at what happened to cases of meningitis C when the vaccine was introduced. Secondly, they are a medical intervention. Obviously, it's important to know what you're getting yourself into, but like any medical intervention, there is the potential for side effects. Let's take, for example, antibiotics. They save lives and you wouldn't turn them down if you needed to. Vaccines are exactly the same. They do have side effects. For the vast majority, they're not going to be serious, but know what you're doing. One of the big things that keeps getting thrown around with MMR is a link to autism. That original study had 6 children in it. It was unethical. The guy that authored, the lead author, was struck off. Millions of children have been studied worldwide since, and there is no link.
So if you see something online, like Emily said, people do research it, and it says there's a link with MMR and autism,
anti-vaccine information is the new fake news, and we have to be really, really careful where we're getting our information from. If you don't like the information that's on the NHS website, which is great, then go to the Oxford Vaccine Group's website, because there's a lot more detailed stuff in there.
So does Emily have a point when she says if you're not vaccinated, don't be sending your kid to school.
I think Emily has a point to say that people should be protecting their families as much as they can, and I think people should be making a choice to do so because that's what we all recommend.
Emily, we've got 45 seconds before we have to go. What would you like to say in conclusion?
I'd like to say that it's not just a personal choice, it's a choice that affects everyone in society. And if you make a choice not to vaccinate your child, you're not just damaging or risking their health, you're risking the health of other people that are around that they come into contact with, and you could be risking other people's lives without even knowing it. It's not a personal attack on people, it's common sense. Yeah. Do your research, as I have, and come to the conclusion that this is the safest way to stop children, to stop people dying unnecessarily.